Look Up TV.
Get to story. That's not story one. How did that happen?
Yeah, I'm with you, but she's busy. Can you hear Dego?
Njagwa namsikia.
Dego, can you hear?
Look Up TV. You're watching Look Up TV. Want to grow your business? Broadcast your sermon, share birthday wishes, make funeral announcements, produce adverts and documentaries? Then book and advertise with us today by calling us on +254 700 893 542
700 893 542
or email us on sales@look-up.tv.
You guys have to tweet about this.
What phone is this? Hey, looks good. How much is it?
You haven't heard of the Optiven offer?
No.
I must excuse you, invest too. Optiven has this amazing offer. If you make a commitment of 900k in any of their value added projects, you get rewarded with a cool smartphone, bro.
Welcome to Look Up Guest House, Retreat and Prayer Center. When you first come in, we will be happy to receive you at our reception, then proceed to our cozy and well-equipped accommodation facilities. We aim to provide our guests with a unique, comfortable and worthwhile experience. Here at Look Up Guest House, we provide our guests with a continuous supply of room amenities. A cool environment for all your retreat activities.
Look Up Guest House, Retreat and Prayer Center. For reservation, contact us on info@lookupguesthouse.org or call us on 0746 788 707.
If you go as a woman, it doesn't matter whether you are shy or what, and you allow Jesus to make you, he will make you to become what he wants you to be.
If you do not take your position, nobody will take it. What God has invested in you will not have been utilized.
Women, we bring life. So to all women out there, don't despise what you have. It is so great. It's only that just take a step of faith. And it shall grow.
So we have been given a ministry to praise and worship the Almighty God, to bring glory to his name.
Look Up TV.
Hello there once again. You're watching Trending News right here on Look Up TV. We never fail to update you on what's happening all around us, starting with right here home. Well, today we will look at the pension bill amendment for Parliament and cement companies, which are said to be operating without licenses. And on the international front, we will be looking at the assassination of Haiti's president and more stories. My name is Joy Machache, and as usual, I'll start you off with what's making our headlines. In today's highlights, MPs embark on a move to reward themselves with higher retirement perks. Also, a look at the effects of COVID-19. 4 million lives plus lost globally during the pandemic began. Last but not least, oxygen machine aimed at aiding Kakamega hospitals held up at the ports due to high unpaid taxes. Make sure you talk to me at Lookup TV on Facebook as well as Twitter, or shoot me a text on 20374. Let me know what story sparked your interest, or simply share your thoughts with me. Why don't we begin? Lawmakers have embarked on a fresh bid to award themselves fat retirement perks in the Parliamentary Pension Amendment Bill. In the new push, MPs seek to amend the law to take away National Treasury's power to manage their perks and vest in it in the Parliamentary Service Commission that determines the estimates for the payment of pension, gratuity, refund of contributions, and other allowances payable to MPs. Our reporter, Carol Wangari-Wanjiru, has the rest of those details.
Mr. Speaker, the need for this bill is as a result of many visits.
Lawmakers will enjoy gratuity for serving a single term or less if the Parliamentary Pension Amendment Bill 2019 is passed. Mwatate MP Andrew Mwandime proposed changes to the Parliamentary Pension Amendment Bill, which recommends a Member of Parliament shall be entitled to receive gratuity where he or she ceases to be an MP and has served an aggregate of 5 years or less. The scheme that will be administered by the MP's employer, the Parliamentary Service Commission, PSC. This means the lawmaker will be entitled to a 31% of their basic salary for the 5 years without contributing to any scheme. According to the bill, an MP who has served more than one term may elect to be paid gratuity instead of a pension at the end of the term of Parliament which the member is serving. When the term of the 12th Parliament ends, gratuity payouts for MPs will rise to 1.8 billion shillings, an increase of 844 million shillings. The payment will rise to 2.2 billion shillings and 2.4 billion shillings in the subsequent fiscal years, with the monthly pension bill set to rise to 266 million shillings. The increase is on account of payment to 196 single-term MPs who lost their seats in 2017, a figure which is expected to go higher following the proposed law change. Even so, MPs who choose to be paid a pension stand to get a lifetime monthly pay of 125,000 shillings, should they choose to exit after they serve 2 terms. Currently, members of Parliament are only entitled to a pension if they have served 2 terms and have attained the age of 45 years. However, in the proposed bill, where one ceases to be an MP on grounds of ill health, the pension committee shall pay even if the member has not attained 45 years. Carol Wangari-Wanjiru, Lookup TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to...
Thank you so much, Caroline Wangari-Wanjiru, for that. Moving right along, Reprieve UK, a charity organization based in the UK that uses strategic interventions to end the use of death penalty worldwide, among others, has welcomed Monday's judgment of Kenya's Supreme Court on resentencing. Reprieve UK said the ruling is a reprieve for many condemned convicts on the death penalty because they will be able to withdraw their appeal and seek resentencing before their appeals can proceed. Roger Muiruki has more to that story.
Over the last few years, Reprieve UK has been supporting efforts to ending the death penalty in Africa. Reprieve UK launched the Kenya Resentencing Project over 18 months ago to support all individuals eligible for resentencing in Kenya following the success of the Malawi Resentencing Project and legal reforms. Siombua and Amayo, both workers of Reprieve UK, have been able to gather jurisprudence that is consistent with a Monday ruling by the Supreme Court while a project on resentencing in Kenya. While reacting to the Supreme Court ruling in Kenya on the famous Murua-Tetu case, they said some of the challenges they saw in some courts were having people who were done with their appeal and then filing for resentencing, but being denied and told that they did not have the jurisdiction. However, now with the Supreme Court's ruling, they can withdraw their appeal first and then go ahead with resentencing. The Supreme Court initially delivered a ruling in the case of Francis Karioko Murua-Tetu and another versus the Republic and others on December 14th, 2017, in which it made a finding that the mandatory nature of the death sentence as provided for under Section 204 of the Penal Code with respect to murder cases was unconstitutional. On Monday, the Supreme Court ruled that the judiciary's sentencing policy guidelines should be revised in tandem with the new jurisprudence enunciated in Murua-Tetu. The Supreme Court judges ruled that the decision in the Murua-Tetu case did not outlaw the death penalty and that it's still applicable as a discretionary maximum punishment.
For avoidance of doubt, this decision does not outlaw the death penalty, which is still applicable as a discretionary maximum punishment. We therefore reiterate that this court's decision in Murua-Tetu did not invalidate mandatory sentences or minimum sentences in the Penal Code.
The seven-judge bench comprising C.J. Kome, William Ouko, asserted that the decision of Murua-Tetu only applied to sentences of murder under Sections 203 and 204 of the Penal Code.
The decision of Murua-Tetu and these guidelines apply only in respect to sentences of murder as provided for under Sections 203 and 204 of the Penal Code.
The court therefore directed the Attorney General, the Director of Public Prosecutions and other relevant agencies to develop a framework for dealing with the resentencing hearings of similar cases within 12 months of the Supreme Court's decision.
The Attorney General is directed to urgently set up a framework to deal with sentencing hearing of cases relating to the mandatory nature of the death sentence, which is similar to that of the petitioners in this case.
The Supreme Court has directed that in respect of other capital offences such as treason, robbery with violence, and attempted robbery with violence, that a challenge on the constitutional validity of the mandatory death penalty should be properly filed, presented, and argued before the High Court or escalated to the Court of Appeal if necessary, at which a similar outcome as that in the Murua-Tetu case may be reached.
To clear the confusion that exists with regard to the mandatory death sentence in office, such as treason under Section 43, robbery with violence under Section 296(2), and attempted robbery with violence under Section 297(2) of the Penal Code, Murua-Tetu, as it now stands, cannot directly be applicable to those cases.
All offenders who have been subject to the mandatory death penalty will be entitled to a resentencing hearing. In those resentencing hearings, the courts will be required to record the prosecution's and the appellant's submissions as well as those of the victims before deciding on a suitable sentence. Applications for resentencing arising from a trial before the High Court will only be entertained by the High Court, which has jurisdiction to do so and not subordinate courts. Roger Muriuki, Look Up TV, Nairobi.
Asante sana, Roger Muriuki, for that. Why don't we move right along? Auditor General Nancy Gathungu gave a report of the year up to June 30th, 2020 that shows that several cement companies have been operating without licenses, while others owe taxpayers up to $1.7 billion. Some of those companies are Rai Cement, East Africa Portland Cement Company, and Savannah Cement Company.
Companies like Rai Cement, East Africa Portland Cement Company, and Savannah Cement Company have been operating without valid licenses, while others owe taxpayers 1.7 billion Kenyan shillings, according to Auditor General Nancy Gathongo's reports. EAPCC owes Kenyans 280 million Kenyan shillings of the 1.7 billion Kenyan shillings. Savannah Cement owes 375.9 million Kenyan shillings, while ARM Cement is yet to settle 255.5 million Kenyan shillings. Gathongo also said that in the recovering of the long outstanding arrears of revenue and accuracy of arrears of cement revenue due since 2017 and 2018 financial year could not be ascertained. These revelations put PS Peter Kiberia, leader of the mining department, on the spot, with the auditor querying why the management allowed such irregularity to continue without stopping. Esther Mora, Lookup TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Esther Mora, for that. And let's look a little bit. Paranya says the plant is critical in the country's fight against COVID-19 and asks that the Treasury intervenes to have the oxygen plant released. Waris Kimathi has that report.
A new 1,000-litre oxygen plant belonging to the county government of Kakamega is being held at the Mombasa port over 8 million shillings tax arrears. Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya has said that the 1,000-litre pump who delivered it was unable to pay 8 million shillings to intervene and have the oxygen plant cleared, insisting that the plant is critical for the containment of COVID-19 spread in Kakamega. Artificially administered oxygen is used to assist critically ill COVID-19 patients in breathing. In his appeal, Oparanya has asked the government to avoid imposing heavy taxes on equipment such as oxygen plants, which he terms as critical to saving lives. Oparanya has also requested the Ministry of Health to get involved in the standoff. The Kenya Revenue Authority, KRA, which is the body that collects taxes for the government, collected a record 1.6 trillion in the financial year that ended in June this year, surpassing its revenue collection target for the first time since 2014. With less than 1% of the national population being fully vaccinated as of July 2021, county governments remain to be important players in the country's fight against old and new variants of the deadly coronavirus. Waris Kimathi, Lookup TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Waris Kimathi, for that. And coming up to a sad story, we have Hilary Ngweno, who died on July the 7th after a long illness, was a celebrated journalist, editor, and writer. Took over as the editor-in-chief of the Daily Nation newspaper in 1965, becoming the youngest person to occupy the office at the ripe age of 25. As a writer, journalist, and academician, Ngweno played a central role in shaping Kenya's post-independence media landscape. President Uhuru Kenyatta has mourned the veteran journalist as a distinguished Kenyan whose contribution to the growth of the country's media industry shall be remembered for generations to come. And we're going to be taking a brief break right at this point. We shall be right back with more of our stories. Do not go too far.
You're watching Lookup TV. Want to grow your business? Broadcast your sermon, share birthday wishes, make funeral announcements, produce adverts and documentaries? Then book and advertise with us today by calling us on +254 700 893 542.
700-893-542.
Or email us on sales@look-up.tv.
Welcome to Lookup Guest House, Retreat and Prayer Center. When you first come in, we will be happy to receive you at our reception, then proceed to our cozy and well-equipped accommodation facilities. We aim to provide our guests with a unique, comfortable, and worthwhile experience. Here at Lookup Guest House, we provide our guests with a continuous supply of room for all your retreat activities.
Lookup Guest House, Retreat and Prayer Center. For reservation, contact us on info@lookupguesthouse.org or call us on 0746 788 707. Like, follow, subscribe, click the notification button. Join the Look Up TV movement now. You're watching Look Up TV.
Welcome back from that break. Remember, this is Trending News with me, Joy Mochache. If you want to engage with me and tell me what you think about our stories, our social media handles are right here at the bottom of the screen. Let's move right on and hear about COVID update for today. Today, the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic in the country is one step ahead with the arrival of over 182,000 AstraZeneca vaccines just this morning. Globally, over 4 million people have lost their lives. Our health reporter Keith Gitonga with the roundup.
Today, the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic in the country is one step ahead with the arrival of over 182,000 AstraZeneca vaccines this morning. The doses is a donation from the government of France, which was sent via COVAX and transported by UNICEF Kenya and received at the JKIA by health officials. The vaccine's arrival was received by French political councillor Emmanuel Dag and said that the France, EU and COVAX are keen to work with the Kenyan government in its effort to tackle COVID-19 with hopes that these vaccines will help to give access to a second dose to many Kenyans at risk. Earlier, in June 21st this year, Kenya received over 350,000 batch of the AstraZeneca vaccine, which was a donation from Denmark. Currently in Kenya, over 1.5 million people have been vaccinated against the virus. Persons who have received the first dose are over 1 million, while persons who have received the second dose are over 480,000. According to the World Ometer, over 185 million people have contracted the virus. Among these numbers, over 11.7 million people are currently active cases, with over 11.6 million persons are in mild conditions, while over 78,000 persons are in critical condition. It's hard to say that over 4 million people have lost their lives from contracting the virus. The United States of America has recorded over 620,000, with Brazil recording over 500,000 and India recording over 400,000. In Africa, South Africa has recorded over 63,000, Egypt has recorded over 16,000, Morocco over 9,000, and lastly Kenya has lost over 3,705 lives. Keith Gitonga, Look Up TV, Nairobi.
Great to know that we've gotten some of the vaccines into the country, and it's always sad to hear about all the lives lost due to this pandemic. We hope the vaccines. Linking Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to Nairobi City Center, Kenya has been expecting to close the 16.8 billion shillings financing deal in Paris when the president made the two-way visit to the French capital. Our reporter Wangari Mwangi with more on that.
Kenya has failed to ink a financial deal for the construction of a railway line linking Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to Nairobi City Center. The deal was to be closed during the President Uhuru Kenyatta's visit to France last week. The infrastructure plan was to cost 16.3 billion. The JKIA Nairobi City Center railway line was planned to decongest the capital city and reduce time taken between the central business district and the region's largest international airports. The loan will aid in the revamp of the old 17-kilometer railway track that links to the SGR line at Syokimau, construction of 2 airport stations, a terminal at Donholm, and an automatic fare collection system. Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia said that the French trip did not lead to the signing of the deal. Earlier agreements had provided for the signing of the loan pact by June 30th when President Kenyatta was in France. This meant Emmanuel Macron and his Kenyan counterparts in March 2019 faces further delays. Wangari Mwangi, Look Up TV, Nairobi. And the regions.
Thank you, Wangari Mwangi, for that. President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto, as well as his allies and former Prime Minister Honorable Raila Odinga, are on a battle to fight out whether to have the Interior CS, Dr. Fred Matiangi, detached from office. The collection of signatures has started, led by Embakasi East MP George Owino.
The battle for the impeachment of Cabinet Secretary for Interior Fred Matiangi has kicked off after Deputy President William Ruto was put to the task by President Uhuru Kenyatta and his allies, together with the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, for the impeachment of the Interior Cabinet Secretary. The impeachment came after the Cabinet Secretary failed to appear to an invite sent to him by the Parliamentary Committee. Muhammad Ali confirmed that the impeachment process is ongoing and that the CS abused power and has no capability to protect Kenyans. Billy Orlando, Look Up TV.
Thank you, Billy Orlando, for that. And we're going to be taking a very, very short break right at this point, and then we shall be back with International Roundup as well as sports.
You're watching Look Up TV. Want to grow your business? Broadcast your sermon, share birthday wishes, make funeral announcements, produce adverts and documentaries? Then book and advertise with us today by calling us on +254 700 893 542
700-893-542
or email us on sales@look-up.tv.
Welcome to the Natural Juicing Center. We are a unique organization that seeks to provide the community with an alternative healthcare option. We specialize in the use of a natural holistic system that focuses on building health through cleansing and nourishing of the body. We utilize a variety of natural health promoting methods in our services, which include juicing therapy, hydrotherapy, colon cleansing, massage therapy, and a comprehensive cleansing service, among others. Our juices are freshly made and tailored to each and every client's individual needs after evaluation by our team through our free consultation service. You can now book for any service or order for food supplements on our website www.naturaljuicingcenter.co.ke. You can also visit our center in Kahawa Sukari, house number 1334, Kahawa Sukari Avenue. Natural Juicing Center. Your health is your wealth.
Like, follow, subscribe, click the notification button. Join the Look Up TV movement now. You're watching Look Up TV.
Welcome back from that brief break. Let's hear a little bit about what's happening around the world with our International Roundup. Following the tragic murder of Haiti President Jovenel Moïse, the Haiti security forces engaged in a fierce battle with some of the suspects involved in the assassination. The battle left 4 of the suspects' assailants dead, while the Haiti police managed to capture 2 other suspects.
Following the death of Haiti President Jovenel Moïse, 4 suspects have been killed and 2 others have been arrested. Haiti security forces were locked in a fierce gun battle on Wednesday, with 4 suspects involved in the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse at his home. According to the Haiti chief of police, Leon Charles, the 4 assailants involved in the gun battle were killed and 2 other suspects have been arrested. The wife of the late president, Martine Moïse, was also injured in the attack. The interim Prime Minister, Claude Joseph, said in a statement that Ms. Moïse was transported to a hospital in southern Florida for treatment. Claude Joseph announced that he was now in charge of the country and urged the public to remain calm while insisting that the police and army would secure the population's safety. In other news, South Africa's former president, Jacob Zuma, has handed himself in to the South African Police Service to begin serving a jail sentence for contempt of court. His arrest followed his failure to appear before a commission investigating him for corruption allegations that have tainted the once esteemed reputation of the former leader, who was at a time best known for his fight against apartheid. Zuma handed himself into the hands of the law and has been admitted to Estcourt Correctional Center in his home province of KwaZulu-Natal. Zuma spent his night in confinement on Wednesday. This marks the dawn of a 15-month-long jail term for the former South African head of state. Tyler Kirumba, Look Up TV, Nairobi. Aliens involved in the gun battle.
Thank you, Tyler Kirumba, for that international roundup. Why don't we move on to some sports before we close off our bulletin? England will play in their first major tournament final for 55 years after coming from behind to beat Denmark 2-1 after extra time in front of a delirious 65,000 crowd at Wembley in Wednesday's Euro 2020 semi-final. Our very own sports reporter Chiang Sylvian gives you more.
Mikel's stunning free kick after 30 minutes threatened another semi-final disappointment for Gareth Southgate's side, 3 years from losing in the last 4 of the World Cup. But Simon's own goal in the 8th minute later and Harry Kane's extra-time winner of the rebound after his penalty was saved by Kasper Peter means England will attempt to win another European Championship for the first time when they face Italy back at Wembley in Sunday's final. Defeat ends Denmark fairy tale to run the semi-finals, the farthest they have been at the tournament since winning Euro 92. The Danes tournament began in nearly tragic circumstances when the star midfielder Christian Eriksen suffered a cardiac arrest in the opening game against Finland. Kasper's men have since ridden an emotional wave and played penalty of sick football in striking 4 goals past Russia and Wales on their way to the semi-finals. However, England's huge advantage is having 6 of their 7 matches on home soil has paid off as they were the physically freshest side in the latter stage. Brought on by the deafening noise created by the crowd from an England game in nearly 2 years, the hosts came flying out of their traps. On to rugby. Leading Kenya Sevens for the second time at the Olympic is a great honor that Andrew Omondi will be embracing as he plans to hang his boots after serving the game diligently for 15 years. The 37-year-old KCB rugby flanker said that he wants to crown his playing career that he described as successful in Tokyo. He believes he has served the country well and that it will be time to reflect on what he has achieved as he waits to hand over the baton to someone else. Even though they are heading to the Tokyo Olympic Games with a different technical bench from one that guided them through the qualification, Amondi's team is ready to battle and face an exciting pool at the Tokyo Olympic where they are targeting to reach the knockout stage. The men's rugby event at Tokyo Olympic will run from July 26 to 28. Kenya Sevens will face 2016 Rio Olympic bronze medalist South Africa, United States of America, and Ireland in Pool C of their Sevens rugby tournament. Watching Sylvian, Look Up TV, Nairobi.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for that sports roundup, Sylvian Ocheng. And speaking of what's trending on Twitter in Kenya, there is a video that's circulating about a Demio that's been in an accident with a motorcycle rider. You guys might want to check that out and see if it's of any interest to you. But that is all that we have for you today. More news at 7 p.m. with our very own Fiona Kenga for the Taarifa Kuu. But before I let you go, we have seen what's trending on Twitter, and that brings us to the end of this bulletin. Grateful that you chose us for your dose of trending news. I'm Joy Machache. Have a pleasant evening.
We value your